UFC Perth is this weekend, obviously from Western Australia, from the RAC Arena, and the build of this card's been kind of weird, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I don't know the validity of this, but I'm pretty sure it's true. The arena's like half sold right now because of the crazy ticket prices the UFC and TKO are putting on this card, and although the main event's really good, and this will probably determine the next challenger for either the champion next weekend, Magomed Ankalaev or Alex Pereira, the rest of the card is very mid. There's a lot of Australian talent on the card, but not any premier Australian talent on the card. The second biggest name outside of the main event for this card legitimately is Neil Magny. Anyways, we've still got our 5 best bets, still an opportunity for us with 14 fights on the card. And folks, before we get into the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more UFC and MMA content here on the channel. We also have our PFL Europe predictions this week on the channel, again with our full UFC Perth predictions as well, and our PFL MENA predictions. All of those are linked in the description down below. As we get on out of the first of our 5 best bets, we kick things off with Jamie Mullarkey moneyline. Okay, so I know at the beginning of the week I said, oh, this fight's crap, don't bet on it. I don't know if I said that word exactly, but I said, this one's tough because these two fighters suck. Okay, as I've looked deeper into this fight, I like Jamie Mullarkey more. I picked him originally to start the week. We had Jamie Mullarkey by decision, and that's the exact pick I'm going with here. And this is very important because, this piece is really important. Jamie Mullarkey just can't get knocked out. If he doesn't get knocked out, Jamie Mullarkey usually wins. And, I mean, you can say that about a lot of fighters, but legitimately, Mullarkey's lost once by decision in his UFC career, and that's to Fair Ziam back in October of 2020, in a fight that was actually pretty competitive. Every fight that Mullarkey has that he doesn't get knocked out in, he wins. I know what you're thinking. Okay, well, what if he gets knocked out here? I'll be damned if he gets knocked out by Rolando Bedoya. Bedoya is not much of a knockout threat. He's 0-3 in the UFC, and if you're Jamie Mullarkey, if you can't beat this guy, I mean, obviously, his UFC career is over. For the most part, his mixed martial arts career will be over. But this is a must-win for both guys, but it should be a walk in the park, honestly, for Mullarkey. Bedoya's on the road, right? Bedoya's coming from Southern America. He's coming from Peru all the way over to Australia. Mullarkey gets this fight at home. He's from New South Wales, which I don't think is close to Perth. But still, it's his country, all right? The travel is way less. He's got to go, 3.5 hours across the continent, or country/continent, rather than Bedoya, who has to fly halfway across the world for this fight. Mullarkey, the guys he's lost to, Muhammad Naimov, Nasrat Haqparas, Mauricio Hufi, those are tough guys. Those are really difficult guys. And the guys that Mullarkey has beaten, and I get it, he has not won since 2023, these guys that he's beaten are better than Bedoya. John McDessie, Francisco Prado. He technically beat Michael Johnson. I don't think he beat Michael Johnson. Like, watching that fight, at the time I thought Johnson won. I still think Johnson won, but it's okay. Judges gave him the nod. He TKOs Devontae Smith, TKOs Kamaworthy. But the losses he has are better than, every guy Jamie Mullarkey's lost to is a way better loss than Rolando Bedoya would be. I mean, Bedoya would be, obviously, the worst loss he could take. I mean, it doesn't get worse than that for Jamie Mullarkey. Bedoya's 0-3. He's lost 3 fights, obviously, back-to-back in the UFC. His first fight was his most competitive, that he lost to Chaos Williams. Second fight, he does outstrike Song Kenan, but Song Kenan's strikes are way more damaging than Chaos Williams, so Williams loses. Or Chaos Williams, then Rolando Bedoya. And then Rolando Bedoya's last fight, Jai Herbert, just kind of outclasses the guy. So we look at the odds for this fight, almost even, essentially. I think Mullarkey is a slight favorite at -115, Bedoya coming back at you at -105. It all just makes sense to pick Jamie Mullarkey here. Mullarkey is at home. It's in Australia. I know he's lost, but Bedoya doesn't hit that hard. Bedoya's thing is volume over power, and we've seen that in each of his 3 UFC fights. I mean, Bedoya, numbers-wise, outstrikes Chaos Williams and outstrikes Song Kenan. He just doesn't hit very hard. And obviously, damage-based scoring is the way it should be. If you're not doing much damage, you're not winning the fight. So that's ultimately why he's 0-3. I mean, the Herbert fight, he doesn't even outstrike Herbert, and Herbert drops him. By the way, Song Kenan drops Bedoya. Guys, I'm not ruling out the possibility that Jamie Mullarkey could drop and potentially finish Bedoya in this fight. I mean, I don't know about the finish itself because Bedoya's never been finished ever, but to drop the guy, 100%. I mean, we've seen it happen twice before in his last 2 bouts. Mullarkey, when he is at his best, I know, again, he's coming off back-to-back decision victories or 3 straight decision victories. he does have knockout to Devontae Smith and Kamaworthy. I get it, those guys were very quick, in and out of the UFC. Devontae Smith had some hype at one point in time. Kamaworthy actually knocked out Devontae Smith. But Mullarkey knocked out both those guys. I'm not telling you, again, that's going to be the easiest pathway to success, but I think there's a chance he does chin Bedoya here. I think there is a chance, and ultimately, I would be concerned about Mullarkey if he was fighting a power puncher. Obviously, this is not a power puncher in Bedoya. We should be okay. Bedoya doesn't swing hard. He's more of just a volume guy, and Mullarkey should be able to fight that volume-esque fight. So I'm going to go with the Australian here and Jamie Mullarkey to win, minus 115 on the odds. I like this play to kick off the night. Next up, we go to our second money line. I'm taking Oban Elliott to win and beat Jonathan Mikhailov. Thank you. Always butcher his name. I've done it his entire career. I will continue to do it. I'm taking Oban Elliott to beat the Australian here. Okay, Oban Elliott's coming off his first career loss, and that is our first UFC loss. That is to Seung Hyuk Ko. Lost that fight and got out-grappled the entire fight. I will be damned if Mikhailov grapples him. I'll be damned. I will be damned. This is going to be a striking fight, and I think Oban should be fine. I mean, I think we're forgetting how good Elliott is. I am going to give him a little bit of leeway because of that last loss to Seung Hyuk Ko. It was, relatively speaking, a short notice bout, right? He was booked 3 weeks prior to fight Ramiz Brahimaj. Elliott can't get into the country. Seung Hyuk Ko can't get into the United States. So Ramiz Brahimaj ends up fighting Ko's original opponent, which was Billy Ray Goff. And so, obviously, Elliott and Ko get scrambled, and they get put on a card to fight each other in June, I think, outside of the U.S., right, in Azerbaijan. So they, both don't have to get into the country because I guess visa issues for both. And obviously, maybe Elliott's visa issues are still going on because he's fighting in Australia, not the United States here. But that was a short notice bout. Okay, he was preparing for Ramiz Brahimaj, which honestly, if he struggled grappling against Ko, I can imagine that he probably would have struggled grappling against Brahimaj, but that's neither here or there. It's a different style. It's not a different style fighter, but it's a different fighter. All right, different matchup. He got switched around. You're thinking, oh, you're going to America for a fight. No, now I'm going to Azerbaijan for the first time to fight this guy. Weird circumstances. And sure, did Elliott get put on his back pretty much the entire fight with the exception of the first round and lose 30-27? Oh, he did. He lost every single round. But I think he can win this fight. I mean, I'm looking at, Mikhail's only victory. It's Kevin Jousset. It's Jousset who got signed to the PFL, never ended up fighting there. I guess still under contract. I don't know what the hell goes on with the PFL sometimes. Jousset was supposed to fight this weekend for the PFL. But it's a I wouldn't even call it that one-sided. I mean, Jousset wins the third. Jonathan wins the first two. He knocks down Jousset in the first round. It does do more damage, I think, in the second. You got to give the third to Jousset. Guys, rounds 2 and 3 in that fight, that's a UFC 312 Duplessis Strickland 2. The second and third rounds are very competitive. It is a very close fight. I think Elliott's a higher level striker, I believe. I know Elliott does get hit a little too much. He got dropped by Val Woodburn, and it can get tricky sometimes. All around, though, his striking has looked good since that Woodburn fight. I know he gets dropped in that initial fight in the UFC in Anaheim, but after the knockdown, he's fine. I mean, that's really Woodburn's only success in that bout where he gets the drop in the first round. Oh, Elliott still wins that first round, in my opinion, and then goes on to win the second and third. And then, again, the run that Elliott had after the Woodburn fight, you beat Preston Parsons, and then you knocked out Basil Hafez in a really great fight. I mean, that looked like the best version of Oban Elliott we've ever gotten at UFC 309. He turns that around and fights in Azerbaijan, and he loses. But again, I will tell you the circumstances around that fight, even though, yes, was Seung Hyuk Ko the same style of opponent that Ramiz Brahimaj was? Yes, it's a different fighter. It's a different location. Everything got scrambled for him in the span of 3 weeks. I'm still willing to put some here on Oban Elliott. He is a favorite in this fight, maybe a bigger favorite than he should be. I don't know, minus 125. He is going to Mikhailov's home country of Australia. He's from Victoria, Australia, which I don't know where in Australia that is. I think nothing's close to Perth, if I'm not mistaken. He's from Melbourne. Okay, so that's nowhere close. Not that that matters. Again, Elliott's coming from Wales, and Mikhailov is just in the same country, but still, it makes a small difference, I guess. Not really. I'm still taking Oban Elliott here. I think Oban's going to get the fight that he wants. I'll be damned if Mikhailov shoots on him. That's not really what he does. He was more than content striking with Jousset. He did get a submission win on the Contender, but I don't know. I don't think we're gonna get a submission here. I don't think we're gonna grappling here. I think Oban's wrestling defense is better than you think it is. I think Sung Hyuk Ko got him on a wrong night. I mean, I believe a lot more, I think, in Oban than some other people do. I shouldn't say Mikhailov just doesn't wrestle. He has it in his back pocket, and that's what he did in the Contender. I don't think we see it here, though. I don't think we do. I'm not overly impressed by the grappling game, is what I should say, rather than he doesn't do it. I'm going to go Oban Elliott. I'm going to go Oban to win the fight. Don't care how he does it. We have money line at -125 for the Welsh fighter and Oban Elliott to get it done in his 5th UFC fight. Give me Oban. Next up, we go on to a 2-leg parlay. So if you can't see it here, they both have the bleached hair. That's great. Give me Andre Petroski first leg of the parlay. Give me Navajo Sterling in the second leg of the parlay. I did struggle a little bit to make this parlay, but these are the two that I ended up landing on. I think it makes sense. They fight in back-to-back fights, so we can get this over with right away. We'll have bets on 4 consecutive fights with Mullarkey, Elliott, and now Petroski and Sterling. I think, okay, the one that scares me more, I will be honest, is Petroski Cam Rouston. It does. It's the unknown of Cam Rouston. Yeah, he's coming off a win in the Contender against Brandon Holmes, who I actually didn't think he was going to beat. Ultimately, Brandon Holmes is a very unproven guy. He's 5-0. Rouston fought in the Contender Series against Torres Finney and lost, and that's what gives me confidence in taking Andre Petroski because of how much success Torres Finney had in the grappling, wrestling Rouston, putting him on his back, and fighting how Torres Finney fights, right? Kind of boring, but he just puts you down and he dominates. The pathway's there for Andre Petroski. I said it earlier in the week with our full card predictions. I mean, if you're losing to Torres Finney, I mean, Andre Petroski should beat you. I think people forget how good Petroski really is. He's an 8-3 UFC fighter, with his only losses being Shabazian, Malkoun, and Pereira. Not Alex, Michel Pineda. You know, he had won 3 in a row before fighting Shabazian, beat Josh Frem, beat Dylan Budka, beat Adolfo Vieira. Now, for Cam Rouston, that win on the Contender, the last one, obviously, is good over Brandon Holmes. He knocks down Holmes twice in the span of 3 minutes. Again, though, I know I picked Holmes. It's just, I don't know what Rouston's going to be. Because he hadn't beaten anybody outside the UFC. He wins his contract. By the way, Holmes was a late second replacement. Last second replacement. Rouston wants to get on this card. Dana says he can be on the card. This is just such a tough fight, though. I mean, Petroski's going to grapple you the entire fight. He's going to get a hold of your legs, and he's just going to look to either smother you or look for a submission. I think it's difficult. I know Petroski lost to Shabazian in his last bout. He lost a decision. It is what it is. The 3 consecutive wins prior to that grounds Dylan Budka, grounds Josh Fremd. This fight's as simple as it can get. Grappler, well, Rouston can grapple too, but a wrestler versus a striker. I know Rouston has the grappling background. He's not going to be able to really pull it off in this fight with a guy like Petroski, who I think is going to try to just go in there and push a pace and give Rouston his welcome to the UFC moment, essentially. And if I'm Petroski, I'm looking at the Torres Finney fight and looking at Finney's 10 takedowns and saying, okay, how can I build upon that and how can I get the victory here? I mean, if you're Petroski, you almost have to feel disrespected by the fact that you're fighting a Contender Series guy. This is your 12th fight in the UFC, and you're fighting a guy in his first fight in the UFC. I believe Petroski is going to make him look like he's in his first fight ever in the promotion. Now, the second leg of the parlay is the easier part. It's Navajo Sterling beating Rodolfo Bellato. I'm not going to reenact, obviously, Bellato's performance, the Oscar-worthy performance that he put on in Atlanta, Georgia against Paul Craig. If you want to see that, watch my full card predictions from earlier in the week, okay? But you do need to know Bellato was looking for any way out against Paul Craig. If you're looking for ways out against Paul Craig, I can't imagine what's going to happen to you here. And I'm not a Navajo Sterling hype train guy. I'm not. I don't think he's actually that great. He will beat Rodolfo Bellato here. Guys, Bellato showed his hand in the Paul Craig fight. He's not a fighter. He doesn't want to be there. And when he gets met with any adversity, he's going to lose. And the thing is, he wasn't even met with that much adversity against Paul Craig. He wasn't. But he finds a way to, I'm fake knocked out. Unbelievable stuff. Unbelievable stuff. I'm going Navajo Sterling here, and it's really not that difficult for me. Navajo Sterling is 7-0, and has he looked underwhelming in his first couple of UFC bouts, his first 2? He has. We expected him to get Tuco Tacos out of there in a fight where Tacos is actually egging him on at the end of the fight. We expected him to knock out Ivan Erslan. Now, that fight is one-way domination at UFC 315 in Montreal. It is complete, it is one-sided, as one-sided as a fight can get, for the most part. Urslan kind of, if you just watch the third round, you'll see how one-sided it is. But I've expected more out of Navajo Sterling, I'm not going to lie. However, this is not the guy who beats him. I mean, again, I don't think Sterling was what the UFC was hyping him to be and what CKB was kind of hyping him to be. He's not this straight finisher. He's not some cold-blooded killer. He's just kind of a points guy who's going to get you out of there, who has the potential of throwing hard and hitting, landing really hard. But he's not a guy oh, look at this guy. He's gonna run through the competition. He's going to, legitimately a good comp is Olberg, but same camp and whatnot, both Australian. But at least Olberg finished guys on his way up. It's just recently Olberg's had a lot of trouble trying to find finishes. It's an easy play for me. I mean, I'm going Navajo Sterling here. He should easily beat up on Rodolfo Bellato. Bellato doesn't want to be in the cage. He's going to be met with adversity, and he's going to crumble. Sterling should be able to outpoint his way to a victory here. I mean, maybe we see a first UFC finish for Sterling, but I also do like the fact that he's at home, and this should be an easy two-leg parlay. Again, this is the easier part of the parlay, in my opinion. I think if we get by with Petrosky, we should be fine here. So give me Navajo Sterling to go out there and beat Bellato, and also give me Andre Petrosky to go out there and beat Cam Rouston. Okay, on to our fourth best bet of the video. It might be the best one I have. It may be. The under 1.5 rounds on Louis Sutherland and Justin Tafa. Why is this an underdog? Plus 115. Are we dead ass? I mean, fights like this and odds like this make me wonder, is there something I don't know about? I mean, I don't know how this fight gets past the first round. Does Louis Sutherland, I mean, I don't get it. Louis Sutherland's fights are usually pretty quick. He throws very hard, his opponents throw hard, and someone's getting knocked out. I mean, Sutherland's seen the scorecards in 5 of his 13 bouts, sure. But do we need to talk about how many times Justin Tafa has seen the scorecards? Justin Tafa has seen the scorecards 3 out of his 12 fights. Odds on we're getting a finish, and odds on heavyweight MMA, oh, you're not seeing late third round finishes, late second round finishes. No, you're seeing first round knockouts. I will be damned if this fight gets out of the first round. I just don't think it will. I mean, look at every fight Tafa has. Oh, the Carl Williams fight was a decision. Carl Williams wrestled him. Carl Williams laid on him the entire round. The entire fight. And Williams is known for being a boring heavyweight, so of course the PFL picked him up. Look at every Tafa fight ever. Last fight against Taliesin Teixeira, knocked down 35 seconds. Austin Lane fight, finished in 82 seconds. Parker Porter fight, finished in a minute. Harry Hunsucker, Tafa head kicked him in the first round. Oh, he lost a decision to Vandera, lost a decision to Carlos Felipe. Those are weird fights, and those are really competitive fights and good fights at that. They were just, kind of stand and bang fights. I don't know what happened since, but Tafa just, now it's just kill or be killed, I guess. Well, no. In all fairness, the Vandera and Felipe fights were both kill or be killed. I just don't think Felipe nor Vandera had the power to put away Tafa. Vandera's never had the most power, and Felipe was on roids, and they had their weird moment where they kind of did the dirty boxing on the inside and just threw uppercuts back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Look at what he's done recently. I mean, those fights against Felipe and Vandera are 2021 and 2020. Are both 2021. Not concerned. Louis Sutherland is a big heavyweight who's going to try to knock you out too. That's kind of what he does. He kind of looks like he's on roids, but that's neither here or there. Justin Tafa is a huge dude. He is Mark Hunt if Mark Hunt wasn't that good at fighting and didn't. I mean, I guess Tafa, again, he will get knocked out or he's going to knock somebody out. This is a main card fight. The UFC put it on the main card for a reason. They want someone to get knocked out, and someone's going to get knocked out. Again, I actually think Tafa's going to win. I'm actually going with Tafa to beat Sutherland. That's not part of the best bet, obviously, but earlier in the week, I was like, I don't know. Who is Sutherland beaten? Nobody. He lost to Slim Trabelsi, and I get it. Trabelsi's a difficult fighter. He lost to Abraham Babalu, who's still in the PFL. I don't know. He hasn't beaten anybody. And sure, is Tafa all that good at fighting? I will be the first to tell you he's not. Tafa is part of the old age of heavyweight, which, you know what? I don't mind it. The guys who, okay, all I have is power. I'm not a technically skilled fighter at all. All I can do is throw hard with my right. I can throw a head kick. I'll give him credit there. And that's all he can do, right? Which does make for entertainment when there actually are finishes. But when they're boring heavyweight fights and they just look at each other for 15 minutes, then it sucks, right? But he is part of that old age of heavyweight that just aren't athletes and they're just power punchers, which is fine. I have no problem with it for the most part. It's just, I mean, what happens when a guy like, I'm not even going to hype up Josh Hokett right now, but what happens when Josh Hokett comes in here and just wrestles you for 15 minutes? I mean, say what you want about Hokett's personality and his, you know, his corny, it's not, it's a little corny, but it's just, he's trying too hard to be Colby Covington is what I'm getting at. But the point that he makes about heavyweights being fat and unathletic and not being able to wrestle is very true. Neither here or there, though, for this fight. I mean, I don't think we really see it. These are two guys who are going to stand in the middle of the octagon and bang. Main card. A lot of nerves going into this fight, too. So someone's going to make a mistake. Sutherland's first UFC fight. Tafa's contract's on the line. I mean, Tafa can't lose 3 fights in a row. Maybe they bring him back. But if he loses, he'll be 7-6. I don't think they bring him back. Okay? Contract on the line for Tafa. He's going to be pressing for a knockout. Sutherland's first UFC fight. Sutherland went from he was in the PFL, but hasn't fought in Bellator/PFL since 2024, early 2024. He goes from Levels Fight League in the Netherlands, fighting for their heavyweight championship, to the UFC on a main card against Justin Tafa. He's going to be pressing. He's going to be looking for a knockout. If he makes a mistake, he's getting knocked out. Give me the under. It's a perfect look for us here. Plus 115 on the under 1.5 rounds between Louis Sutherland and Justin Tafa in the heavyweight division. On to our final. Best bet of the video. Take this one with a grain of salt, but give me Dominick Reyes money line at plus 200. Now, don't put your entire bank account on this one. It's probably the least confident I am in any bet that I have in the video, but I'm going with the Dominator. I'm going Dominick Reyes. Devastator. That was Dominick Reyes. Dominic Cruz's nickname. My goodness. I'm taking Dominick Reyes here to beat Carlos Ulberg. Guys, I'm not sold on Ulberg. I'm not. I think once he fights high-level guys, he'll lose. Now, scorecards can get scary here. Not because, do I think Ulberg's just going to outclass Reyes and that's how he's going to win? I mean, he might. I'm not going to throw that out the window. It could happen. I'm more concerned with the fact that they just give Reyes the decision. Not Reyes, Ulberg the decision because it's in Australia. That's what I'm concerned about. The UFC sees Carlos Ulberg. He's a CKB guy. They've been trying to reignite that city kickboxing flame for forever. Adesanya, kind of done. We'll see what he does. I assume maybe Strickland in January. I don't know. Who knows what Adesanya is going to get next. Volk doesn't really associate himself anymore at CKB, so you kind of get rid of that. Dan Hooker, sure. But, I mean, here, they're trying to reignite the Dan Hooker flame. They gave him the decision against Gamrot. I don't know why we just forget about that. Hooker did not beat Gamrot, but the fight was in Australia, so they just gave it to him. Kai Kara France, they gave a title shot to after losing back-to-back fights, winning one. They said, go fight Pantoja for the 3rd time and go lose. 2nd time and go lose. They're trying to get a star again out of CKB. They're trying with Navajo Sterling. They're trying with Peticic early on in the card too. I don't care. Give me Dominick Reyes. So again, that's the worry though. Fight's close. It goes to decision, and ever so slightly they hand it to Ulberg, like his last fight. He did not beat Jan Blachowicz. Guys, you should be rewarded for actually doing damage. Jan wins rounds 1 and 3. He does more damage than Ulberg. Ulberg's nothing but a point fighter who's boring. Dominick Reyes will bring it to him, but he's got to bring it to him strategically. Reyes can't go into this fight like Alonzo Menefield did. I'm just going to go in here and I'm going to blitz and I'm going to find a knockout real quickly. And then boom, you're put down and put on your ass and knocked out in 12 seconds, right? That's what Menefield did. One of the dumbest game plans of all time. I mean, that rivals Gabe Green in Charlotte, North Carolina against Brian Battle for dumbest game plans ever, right? My thing with Ulberg is, once he's gotten in the top 15, he looks hesitant. He looks like, I'm just a point fighter now. I'm just going to, touch. I'm just going to stay on the outside, leg kick. All right, I'm not going to take any chances. Eventually, that's going to cost you. Now, I don't want to see Ulberg in a title fight. I think we know how Ulberg in a title fight goes. Ankalaev is going to go out there and out-wrestle him. Or I guess Pereira could knock him out. I have not even made a decision on that fight next week. I don't know. I'm not looking forward to it because what happens when Pereira loses? The era's over. Where does he go from there? Heavyweight? I don't know. I'm not excited for that fight. Just because I think I know what's going to happen, but I'll get to that on Sunday. We don't need Ulberg in a title fight, and he's just boring at this point. I think Reyes can really bring it to him, and I think he can, again, in a smart way, bring it to Ulberg. Guys, the run Dominick Reyes is on right now should be applauded. 3 straight wins. He looked like he was done. You lose 4 times in a row, 3 straight knockouts. I mean, when he got knocked out by Ryan Spann, I thought it was over. Takes a year and a half off, comes back, beats Dustin Jacoby, beats Anthony Smith, and the most impressive win of all is Nikita Krylov. I get it, Krylov is coming off of now another loss after he was presumed dead. He comes back from the dead from Russia/Ukraine, the border, okay? Loses to Dom, and Bogdan Guskov just knocked him out. However, at the time, the Reyes victory over Krylov was absolutely incredible. Guys, are we forgetting what happens to Carlos Ulberg as fights go on? And that's why, again, I am going Dominick Reyes to win this fight late. And I think that's where he will see his best moments. That's why I went 4th round TKO for Dominick Reyes. Because of the fact the last time we've seen Carlos Ulberg go deep into a fight, the Dawu and Jung fight, I don't care. It's the Kennedy and Zejiku fight. And sure, is that his first fight in the UFC? It is. But when he's met with damage, when he's met with the guy who's still going to walk forward and a guy who's going to be there late in the fight, that has hurt Ulberg. I think Ulberg, again, you're at home. It's your first UFC main event. You have to live up to that expectation. You're going to be the next guy up from CKB. You're getting a title shot if you win. There's a chance you are front row next week for Ankalaev and Pereira because you know you're getting the winner in Las Vegas. It's your first main event. And I'm just saying, against a guy like Dominick Reyes, who's fought in 5-round fights before. He's fought John Jones. Do you think Dominick Reyes is scared of Carlos Ulberg? As the fight goes on, I believe Reyes is only going to see more and more success. And this Ulberg point fighting style, it's not going to help him in a fight like this. Because Reyes will always be there, and Reyes is always going to be... I think Reyes will be fine in this. And Reyes, I think, is going to get better as the fight goes on, too. I don't know. I'm taking Dominick Reyes to win the fight. I think he does it late. My original prediction earlier in the week was 4th round TKO for Dominick Reyes. I am sticking with it. I know it's plus 200, so again, manage your units wisely on this play, but I'm going to go Dominick Reyes money line here. Plus 200, I think the value's too good to pass up on. I think this should be at like plus 130, if I'm being honest, for Dominick Reyes, plus 135. But we get the Devastator here at 2-1 money. We are absolutely taking it. Give me Dominick Reyes to beat Carlos Ulberg in Australia and get the winner of Ankalaev Pereira next week. My goodness. Folks, thank y'all for watching our UFC Perth best bets here on the channel. If you haven't yet, though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you did disagree with any of the picks. Folks, thank y'all for watching, and Mamba forever.